Today we're going to discuss MSP ALGO Artificial Intelligence Trading Bot. How to win 80 to 90% of your trades consistently trading Scalp Alerts. Okay? So we're going to look at IWM, let me bring that chart up and out. Okay, so this is the actual algo that's doing the thinking processes. It is run using artificial intelligence. That's what AI means. MSP ALGO, artificial intelligence, reversal pivots, condensed trading reporting tool. Okay. So what it does is it looks at approximately 100 things per millisecond to detect what is going on with a stock's price action to give signals. Okay. So we have many time frames that we can use. You select your symbol. In this case, I have IWM. And whatever date you're trading and whatever time frame you are going to trade, it just depends, just like you're looking at a chart. So we have 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30, 60, 120, and 240. So in this particular scenario, I want to see what the signals would be as if I'm looking at a 60-minute chart. So now I already did my search and I can see that I am looking at IWM. And I'm looking at, it has the trend, the symbol, pivot signal, start date time, end date time, current price, money flow, average buy and sell of the traders, the money flow flux, what the ratio is, .algo max 3 code, and rolling momentum. So what are each of these? So we got the trend, which is intraday in this particular time frame, every hour. So we know that once transactions occurred, it was bullish and prices going up. And what is the average buy sell at that time frame? In this case, 8 to 9, the average buy sell. So not much going on. There's not a big range here. But we could see that some money did go in. We see the money flow. We track the institutional traders, market makers, the movers and shakers, whomever we think is the movers and shakers are the top 10% with 90% of the money. And ignore the rest of the market. And this is the rolling momentum and the divergence to gauge how fast or slow price action is based on buy and sells. Okay. So as you can see, it says start date time, and it has the yellow support resistance. And it also has the open, high, low, close above the end date time. So what does that mean? It means that if you click, you should be able to see what the current support and resistance is intraday. Okay? And I also can see within the 8 to 9 a.m. time frame what was the open, high, low, and close for the 8 to 9 a.m. time frame. So I want to trade IWM today. So before the market open, I want to see what's going on, because I looked at my chart and I noticed that IWM was bullish and gapped up. Should I go long? Should I go short? So I'm gonna ask for some assistance from MSP ALGO. But looking at the chart, it really looks bullish. Let's see what MSP ALGO has to say. So, before market open, I could see a scalp alert here. IWM, I see it says drop to pop scalp alert. And it's only 8 to 9 in the morning. I could see the pivot went to bearish. And I could see that the money flow. So I could see that between this time frame, there was a buy near the 169.31. So not much going on. But let's see what the alert is trying to tell us. So I'm going to click on the alert. It says advance warning, drop to pop, scalp alert long signal. Buy the dip below 169.31 to resistance. The first move, short resistance. Then the second move, long support. So what is this saying? It is saying that in the future, you should see price pulling back with the intent of popping in the future. So the first move is pullback, and the second move will be a bounce. So in a nutshell, this is 2 alerts in one, right? So things could change within time. So what we're going to do is we're going to look and see what was the market doing. We could see prices going up. So this is saying it's dropped to pop. So we don't see the drop yet. So we know most likely that first alert is good, because if we already saw the drop, then, it already happened. Then we have to go to the second alert. So we're going to say, okay, we don't see the drop. We know a drop coming. So where is support and resistance? So we could see support is 168 to 168.6, and resistance is 168.77 to 169.2. And it says some stuff here. Number one, this is the intraday support resistance. And it says Are the big boys buying or selling their support or resistance? So it's trying to say, ask yourself that question, are they buying or selling their support or resistance? And it tells me what to do. If they're buying support or resistance, long to next resistance. If they're selling support or resistance, short to next support. So it's telling me to short support or resistance, or long support or resistance. So where's price? We notice price is near resistance because it's above resistance. And we also notice the major support or resistance for the day is about 169. Okay? So we know that we are near resistance. So we got a breakout here, right? So now the market open up and we look and see where price is at. We see it's near 168.86. So we already got our scalp alert, and it said the first move is short resistance. We it's saying what the main move's gonna be, but in the future, but right now we know we're looking to short resistance because we're near resistance. So now we need to see some selling, right? We need to see some selling. Okay, you telling us what to do in the future? It's a check. Now we see that there's a momentum alert that came out as well, but we're not going to really go over the momentum alerts thoroughly here, but that tells us we have some momentum just by looking at this page here. Okay, so we're just tracking the top 10% that have 90% of the money. And so we're thinking that based on what this is saying, price is going up, but it's gonna drop. Based on looking at where price is located, and based on looking at, we don't see any drop yet, right? We don't see drop yet. All we see is pop. I don't see any drop. Okay? Now, let's look at the chart. Okay, so I'm looking at my chart, and this is the 24th of July at 0930. And the market's about to open up any second now. And it was a gap up. Price met a little resistance there, but it looks pretty good. But MSP ALGO is saying to short this. I don't see any sign of shorting this. The chart's not showing it yet. Let's see. We need to see selling, right? So I got this in replay mode to replay this date so we could role play how to trade using MSP ALGO Trading Bot, using Scalp Trade Alerts to win 80 to 90% of your trades consistently. So we're going to forward to the 940 candle and say the market opened up here. Wow. So this is when the market opened up, and 10 minutes after the open, it dropped to 169.22. Let's go back to the app. All right, so at 9 to 10, we could actually see the selling, okay? Since we're using a 1 hour time frame, let's think about charts with the 1 hour. So we got that 10-minute, and we also have that 1 hour. So let's change that to 1 hour. So where is the 27th? Okay, so we're gonna switch on over to the 1 hour since we're using a 1 hour time frame. So let's go to the 27th here. Because we was looking at this in pre-market, so we kind of want to gauge it as we're looking at it. So here at the bottom, you see where it say EXT at the bottom of the browser. That's how you could toggle your normal hours versus after hours and pre-market. So I'm trying to put this thing on here. Sometimes it works easily and sometimes it don't. Let's try this. I don't know what that thing is. Go to the 27th. It probably didn't like after hours to do this. That's probably what it was. I'm thinking that might know, right? So we're 24, and we're looking at this. We're gonna have to look at it normal. So this is the 1 hour. You could see prices going up, and now we could actually see a step down pivot came here. Okay, so that was in the prior day, so this is actually the 24th at 09:30 for the 1 hour. So let's go back to the app. So in essence, it's saying that this is most likely some sort of trap play, and it's saying price was popping, yes, but before it continue in the future, it's gonna drop. So it's not the best long opportunity here. So considering we read and it's saying that the first move is short resistance and we're near resistance, So we know that was a short opportunity. Okay, and then we see some momentum coming in here. So so the first thing we need to do is we could also look at some other things. Let's say we didn't take the trade, we were still waiting for the app to see selling pressure and to confirm. So now we see the algo is saying that price is near support here. The algo support, but intraday is resistance about what, 169ish. Okay, so we could see that a sell went through. These little squares here are block trades created by MSP ALGO Artificial Intelligence. It doesn't look for blocks because they don't use blocks. They use algos to buy and sell, meaning that they don't buy, you know, like 100,000 shares at one time. Okay, so anyway, so to make it easier for the trader, MSP ALGO is interpreting what a block is. And then we got our HFT, which is the high frequency trader algo detected. That means that it detected a whole bunch of transactions, okay, which is 7 times normal for a time frame, okay. So that means that we got some volatility about to come with this stock, okay. And then we also have a fire alert, and these are informational alerts, and this is saying that the big boys are prepping for a move right now. An accumulation or distribution zone is now being created. So we know a chop zone. So what's the price? It's saying it's near 169.18. Okay, so now we want to go to our chart. We want to go to our chart and draw this price point. So to be easier for us to see what they're doing. Now, this is the 60, but I like to go on and go back to the 10-minute, okay? So I normally use the hour and a 10-minute. It's just based on a time frame that you like to use or that you are using in the application. So that's the only reason I looked at that. A 60-minute time frame is because I like to be in sync with the time frame I'm looking at in the app. But I also like to use the 10-minute. Okay, so we could drill in and see actually what's going on. So let's go in and put our price point here. That the app said so now we go forward and the market opened up, and this is the 940 to the 50 candle. So now we can actually see selling in a 0940. So when we looked at the app, we could see this is the 9 to 10 o'clock time frame here, and we actually do see selling. And we see that the money flow went bearish. It says what it is, so you could click and see. It says more money out versus in. Dot algo max 3, red is bearish, cold red. So that's saying it's selling pressure. Our rolling ratio shows us our money inflow versus outflow. And we got an alert on the versions that says exercise caution. A major dump occurred. So everything is going in sync with what the Scalp Alert said to do, and we starting to see the future. We can start seeing the selling. So and it told us to short resistance, and we're right near resistance. So we took that trade between the 09 and 10 o'clock candle. Okay, so now we're going to see what happens on the chart. Okay, let's play this really quick. So we knew that another thing is when you drew your this is moving quite quickly. Normally it'll probably chop for a little bit, but it broke the support. What I like to do is I like to try to short the highest point of resistance as possible. Okay, so it looked like this popped at the open, and then that selling commenced. So we actually got confirmation. So it's just moving fast in this scenario, and it did break support. So we're thinking we could hit this fib here, and if that failed, then the next one we thinking we normally like to see if we could. This is a fib based on a 10-minute time frame. So we got a support there, and we got another support here, and another support here. So basically where we see that this was support, but when the market opened and it started to move, we see it failed convincingly. So we're looking at our target being about 168.5. We short near the pink line here. Once it broke out and retested, so we're looking at supporting it at 168.5. The app validated a few things for us. What did it validate? It validated we had momentum, that they're selling. We see block trades, HFT, where there's a distribution, that they're actually creating an accumulation of distribution zone. In this case, we know it got to be distribution because the alert said the first move was short, and we're near resistance. Even though the chart looked gorgeous, right? We understand that this is advance warning. So that means that it'll happen in the future, okay? You don't see it on your chart yet. You can't miss it. I've had traders say they missed it. You can't miss it because it comes out before it ever happened, okay? So now you know. Good thing to know. Okay, so we took the trade. So we watching the chart, we watching our algo, and we're not getting any more signals here. It just keeps saying stay short, stay short, stay short, stay short. No more new alerts here. And we could consistently see that we're doing good just by looking at the application. Okay? If you want to look at the chart too, that's just fine. I like to look at both. I like to look at the chart and the application. So let's look at the chart. So we're watching the chart. We see that price broke that 169 there, and it didn't get back over that, so looks good. And based on looking at our, let's say for example, you saw this, you would look at the application and we saw they're still selling, so the people we follow are still selling, so we're not concerned about a pop. But we are watching the chart and we are still watching resistance, because this stock needs the support of the 90% of the money. Okay, that's the psychology here. Without it, it can't bounce. Okay, so we hit support. So this is about 11 o'clock. Okay, so this is 11 o'clock. We went through two supports here. Got 1, 2. Let's look at, we want to look at the app and see if our market makers or institutional traders or hedge funds or whomever we follow with all the money is buying yet. Because we know that if they buy, price is going to reverse, right? So 11 o'clock, it says the end time here. So we're looking across the board. There's no new signals. We don't have nothing to worry about. MSP ALGO will tell you in advance, right? Or you'll start seeing some change within the money flow. So we're fine. So now we notice at everything still says the trend is short, intraday trend, and everything is still saying short here. So we know that we're good. The only issue we see now is between 2 and 3 o'clock. We see some buying from the people that we follow. So now we need to be concerned about getting out of this position. Okay? Now, as you look at these block trades, you could actually click on them, and they're actually algo block trades. Like I mentioned previously, they don't trade blocks. And we could see if they had any commitment as well, right? So we had looked at, and that would vary based on the type of stock. If it's, depends on the volume. So we could actually see that they have commitment. They had commitment to actually sell, because we got to be cautious of pop or drop or chop price action. So they were really committed, and this fell. But now we see a buy. So are you committed to that? We see that it was a little buy here. So we may think to ourselves, I wonder if they're just going to hold it up to drop again, chop to drop, drop, chop, drop, or are they going to, since we know they did drop, chop, pop. So now you got to be concerned. right here. You got to be concerned. So we need to be very observant and watch what's going on, okay? You could also drill in if you want to. Once you, because the 1 hour, you could also drill into the app. The 1 hour just clears everything up for you and give you the clarity you need, just like looking at a 1 hour chart. But once you know what's going on, you can drill in. So let's go look at 10 minute. So we could gauge better since we're actually looking at the 10-minute visuals on the chart. So we're going to look at that time frame that to see exactly what's going on, because we saw them buy. So they actually bought between the 210 and the 220 here. Okay, so no new signals, but on this 10-minute time frame, it's more sensitive to price action. It is saying the same alert, drop to pop. It came out previously, early in the day, okay? But we already got the drop, right? So we're looking for where this pop gonna be, that second alert. So we noticed it on a 1 hour time frame. So now we saw that 166.44. We're gonna chill in. We don't really feel intimidated yet because they have the money and we know they could reverse the stock. Because the next, we're monitoring every 10 minutes so we can make a speedy exit out of the stock. So we don't know if it's going to be chop to drop. So we kind of want to watch it a little bit. And then we notice they bought again. So we kind of getting concerned here. And then MSP ALGO Trading Bot is saying the same thing again. The first move was a short and the second move was a long. So where is support? Wow, price broke support. When we got our short, it was above resistance. Now price broke support and they're buying. 9 times out of 10, this will bounce, okay? It's way below support and we actually see them buying. So we're gonna go exit this position, our short position, and then we're gonna look for a long opportunity. So where are they buying? So we could look at the average buy and an average sell and give it some time. So we see they bought that 166.22 and it's about to 166.27. So we see a lot of buying here. Okay. So we thinking that we may want to take a trade near where we see them buying, or we may just want to exit our position. It just depends on that, on the trader, okay? And now we could actually see some algo blocks coming through here. And a lot of momentum is being triggered, okay? So that's how you trade the scalp alerts. And it is for day traders. You need to monitor your trade. Okay, so as we look at this 10-minute time frame, it looks a little different from the 1 hour, but it has a whole lot more noise. So it's similar to drilling in to a chart time frame. If you are experienced enough, you could just use the 10-minute. If you may want to look at a 2 hour, a 120-minute version and trade that. Has less signals, so we know between 8 and 10. We had an alert. First move short resistance, second move long support. We now had to look and see where price is. Is it near support or resistance? We could see prices going up. It was at 169.26 here. We could see that there was a sell block within those buys, algo block. We could see that this HFT was detected there. And we could see that they're creating an accumulation of distribution zone near the 169.2. So we know that if price break, it's a distribution, right? And then we also know 169 was a major support or resistance for the day. Price broke out above it, it couldn't hold, and it pulled back. So what did this app tell you? It gave you alerts. It told you what type trades to take. It's predicting future price action. It's saying price in this scenario, price is going up, but it's gonna drop, right? Because we don't see any dropping yet. So it's telling us it's gonna drop to pop. What type trade to take? What's the first move? We don't see any dropping yet. We see when there resistance. Short. Short. Okay, so let's look at the chart, and then we're gonna end this and do another webinar video. Okay, so let's go and play this. So we left off at 11 o'clock here. So when you see, you may want to just look at your chart or whatever, because you know the pivots will detect these reversals. Once you see anything that look like they're buying, like we did here, we want to see if our boys are buying, right? Boys, girls, institutional traders, market makers, the big people, the financials with the money. So here we knew we could hold on to our short. Here, same concept. We see it bouncing. So we would have looked, we would have noticed that they were still selling. So we're not concerned about this. But we were concerned near the 2, right? So let's go on and get over there, because we did see our top 10% with 90% buying. There are 1,400 candles. So here we go. Move a little bit. Okay, so we see prices still dropping, but we did see them buy, right? Near this price here, about what, 166.24. So we could sit here and watch it, and because we don't know if it may be one of these, which I call chop to drop, chop to drop. We don't know if that's a chop to drop, so we kind of want to hold on to our trade, even though we got out of most of our trade along the way, right? Because we know we want to get out. Let's say we had 100 puts. We hit our first target. We got out of, and we want to think about getting out. It was dropping so fast. We did not, because it moves so quickly. But now we see a little buying here, so we're going to go in and either look at the app, but I always recommend you take most of your money out, you know. So if you have 100 option puts, you may want to take at least half, sell 50. You may, and then you could go in and wait, and then you hit your next support, sell 25. And then you see our boys and big girls, institutional traders, and you just exit that trade, okay? And we'll see what happens. Did they start buying? So see the yellow dot came? That's .algo max code yellow, which we discussed what it was in the chart indicators. So in a nutshell, you can see how to play the scalp alerts and how to know to stay in your trade or not. We understand that we're following the top 10% with 90% of the money, and they move the stock. So if they start to buy, price is going to go up. If they start to sell, price is going to go down. And we looked at the application to gauge what was going on. So we looked, and they started to sell. So we see price went down. Even though we see, if you look at the chart, it looks like it's trying to recover. But they were not buying. In order for this stock to bounce, they need to buy. It's probably retail. Open because it went near support, right? Or a trap. So the trader thinks that it's going to bounce, and now they could sell into that pop. You see what I'm saying? So that's why a trader or it could be a stop stealing task as well. Okay? So now we see that the people we follow are buying. So we see the pop. We see that it's not one of these types. It's just going up. This is from 166 to like 167 in I'd say about 30 minutes without any pullback. Respect them. Do not trade against them. Do not think about what they should do or supposed to do. That's not your position as a trader. The only position you have as a trader is to know where support and resistance is located and follow the big boys and girls with the money. See how fast they got? Oh, they got all that money. And these trades are scary trades, okay? And that's understandable. Because at this point, you're trading with the boys that make the stock go down. And they don't wait for it to go down. They're the reason it's going down. Or up, okay? Alright, so that's how you trade using MSP ALGO, artificial intelligence, chart indicators, and the bot side by side in order to win 80 to 90% of your trades on a consistent basis. That's the problem with traders. They're not consistent. They go round and round and not able to hold on to the money that they made, because they keep giving it back to the market. So it doesn't matter what guru you listen to and what they're doing. The issue with traders is the mindset. And so what that means is that you need to have a babysitter near you telling you what's going on. And that's why I use MSP ALGO Artificial Intelligence Trading Bot to help me interpretate what is going on at the speed of light. Impossible for a human trader to think that fast. And we'll know how to consistently long bottoms and short tops on a regular basis. That is the number one thing and secret to trading successfully. Where do you go long? Is it going to move? Where do you go short? And is it going to move? Now, MSP Algo is telling you the trap plays. Pop the drop. Or drop the pop. It's a wrap. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to talk about how to win 80 to 90% of your trades consistently using momentum alerts. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we'll do new videos on a weekly basis. Once we go over the application and get all the webinars out, we're going to start doing trading tips just for the common trader, as well as a little bit of Bitcoin trading live and trading live, day trading live using MSP Algo. Happy trading.